What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Randi Hipper Show. I'm your host. Today, we're going to get into an amazing way to get into crypto and the AI scene at the same time. But before I get into today's guest, make sure you guys smash the like, subscribe to the channel, and share the stream out with friends. Today, we're going to hang out with JD from Raiinmaker. It's so great to have you. Thank you for partnering with me for this episode.
Yeah, it's great to meet you.
I love your style, JD, and I feel like you're such a cool person. I was telling you before we started recording here that I feel like you're such a vibe, and I want to learn more about you and how you kind of got into this space. So we're going to go back in the JD timeline and go back around college, JD. What were you up to? What were you kind of figuring out at the time in your life?
I don't know that you want to talk about what college JD was doing. It may not be appropriate for for this show, but my passion has always been around creating impact in the world. As much as I was when I was in college, I was partying and having fun and just living life. Um, Deep down in my heart, I always knew that I wanted to find a way to impact as many people as possible on the planet. And over time, it's really just been an evolution of figuring out how to do that and finding my path. And I think that's for a lot of us, like, I'm a believer, just to kind of go big picture. Like, I think when each of us finds that divine spark inside of us and brings it forth in the world, I think that's how we create heaven on earth. And I think a lot of what I'm here to do is to empower humanity in whatever way I can, so that each individual human in a decentralized, way can find that for themselves. And so, going back to college, I was always looking for like that right, looking for the right path to accomplish what I'm here to do on this world. And yeah, and then I mean, if you want me to give you the full kind of the career arc into crypto and how I got into it,
Yes,
started
please.
entertainment. I started entertainment. Actually, was an actor of all things when I first moved to LA. Was on a TV show called 24, and basically was had a friend bring me on and say, like, figure out what you want to do. And immediately was like, well, I want to be a producer and actually be the one that's creating these projects and telling these stories, important stories I wanted to tell at the time. So I got into financing and the entertainment industry and the creative side of producing, and had some successes, helped to fund a Broadway play called Rock of Ages that was pretty successful.
Wow.
Some independent movies. And then I guess it was about 12 years ago now. It's crazy how time flies. I stumbled into being a part of a project that really changed my life. And it was basically an alien conspiracy documentary that I produced and co-directed called Sirius, like the star. And I know that's kind of like a weird thing to go, like, an alien conspiracy doc. Well, we were looking to do a scripted project in the space, and we came across a very prominent researcher, and we realized that he had every video he put out on YouTube was just getting, super big traction. It was going viral. So we basically crowdfunded this documentary. 100% of the funding came from the community, and it was the most successful crowdfund in history for a feature documentary to that point. And
Wow.
that was interesting. But the more interesting part was actually then taking that audience and then distributing the film ourselves online in the first window and doing $1 million in sales in the first 2 weeks with no marketing budget. So it was 100% organic, community driven marketing. So that kind of, to me, that was actually the first time I saw that in this new digital economy, there's this amazing performance that you can see with a project or with marketing campaigns. When you get a community really incentivized and aligned behind you, you can see, and I'm sure as you've seen it, Randy, amazing things happen. So flash forward like 4 or 5 years later, my partner and I acquired the rights to a project called Atari from Paramount, which is the story of Nolan Bushnell, who was the godfather of the whole video game revolution. He created Atari, and the project, the story is like basically like Wolf of Wall Street meets Social Network, like Silicon Valley, 1970s, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It's a fun story. But what was interesting to me was like, okay, I looked at what we did with Sirius and all those people that were super passionate about, the truth about ETs and the government cover up and all that stuff. And I was like, okay, well, how can we take what we learned from that and apply it to, a big feature film that could actually engage 3 billion gamers around the world, which obviously gaming is huge. So that's
Absolutely.
actually that's what brought me into, full circle into the crypto space. So in 2017, I came in, as the ICO boom was ramping up, and was like, okay, this is crowdfunding on steroids. Like, what's going on here? And once I came in, I was like, okay, this technology has the potential to transform the entire world. And coming back to the original, passion that I carry, I was like, okay, this is actually the economic system that can empower humanity in a whole new way and allow people to really find that divine spark and their purpose. So I became, at that point, like passionate about telling stories in the space. We've done some documentary stuff, but also about building technology. And so that's when we created Raiinmaker, was 2018, started building, and everything took off from there. So
Wow. Getting into film and telling stories, I think, is a huge thing, especially with crypto. And you can even look back to the Genesis block of Bitcoin, where Satoshi had a message inscribed, and that in itself was a story about how the banks, it was a literal newspaper article about the banks collapsing, and that obviously we needed a better way to have money. And that's kind of what Satoshi set out for us. So you kind of went on that type of vibe where you were just kind of talking about things that people really needed to know and still need to know, and it integrated into your Web3 life. And I want to know, how did that kind of merge for you? What was that story like? How did you find out about crypto? Were you hearing about NFTs first, or it was kind of too early, 2017, 2018? So it was kind of like the ICO boom. Is that where you were hearing about first?
yeah, so exactly in the ICO boom, I was actually sitting at dinner with a friend here in Los Angeles, and he was like, he's a cutting edge marketer, so he's always like kind of on the edge of what's happening. We're talking about Atari. He's like, have you thought about like using crypto or using like an ICO to fund the movie? And I was
So
like, what the fuck
early.
is an ICO? And I don't know if I should curse on your show, sorry.
You're all
But
good.
basically at that point we like Googled it, and it was like the day that the CEO from Mozilla had raised like $30 million in 30 seconds, or the former CEO of Mozilla. So it was yeah, at that moment I was like, okay, this is I need to dive into this. And I was just lucky to be, at that time LA, especially the west side of LA, was like really a burgeoning space. It also kind of had another moment in the NFT wave, and there's a lot of good people in LA now, I feel like, building and doing cool stuff, not just in crypto and Web3, but also in AI. I think we've got a pretty good tech scene here now, but at that time there was a lot of crypto OGs that were kind of floating around in Santa Monica, which is where our office is. So I was lucky to just be able to learn from people that were much smarter than me, that had already been in the space for quite some time. And funny story, actually, around the time I was doing the Alien documentary in 2012, um, I had an opportunity to buy 1,000 Bitcoin for $10,000
Shut
from
the
Brock
front door.
from Brock Pierce. So it was like, and at the time I was like, well, here's the thing. Obviously, there was a number of times I probably would have sold it along the way, but I just didn't. I said to him at the time, I was like, "Look, it's hard for me. I have kids. I was like, to take money that's invested for kind of their future and put it in something that I just do not understand at all." But I said my gut feeling is that this is going to be very successful and it's going to work. I don't know why, but I'm like getting really strong, like intuitive feeling of this is gonna fly, and obviously it has. And so, yeah, but that's the first time I ever heard about crypto, was 2012, and had a chance to buy
Dang.
Bitcoin, which of course, like 10,000 Bitcoin sounds nice right now. Um,
Very nice. That's not even the word. It's fantastic. It's out of this world. To the moon, as they say. That's pretty wild. And Brock Pierce, out of all people, too. Like, this guy is an OG in this space. And I remember when I was first getting in crypto, all I heard about was him. So it's very funny that, like, although it's like crypto's such a small world right now, and it's rapidly expanding, especially when you see something like the 2017, 2018 ICO boom, and you saw the potential of crypto, but you also saw the downturns with crypto, where Bitcoin hit 20K at that time, immediately kind of came back down within a few months. And then the ICOs were kind of fading out, where a lot of those ICOs that you saw in 2017, 2018 aren't here anymore. So why did you kind of stick with crypto after all that fallout, even though you did kind of see the potential there?
um, I have my own opinions. Like, I think there's definitely, in the ICO boom, like every single industry, there's going to be some bad actors, and there's going to be some scams or people that do stuff that's really not that's not in the best interest of the community or investors or people who have believed in them, right? Um, but I also think that there was a concerted effort by the government in the West to essentially create an environment where the market would crash and people would lose, faith in the industry. And I think there's a lot of, and I also think the SEC, I just know this firsthand. So the doc series that we produced and put out in 2020, July of 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic, was called Open Source Money. And basically it was
Whoa.
following primarily one entrepreneur in a company called Dragon Chain, and their founder named Joe Roats, who's now my CTO at Raiinmaker, coincidentally, just because I saw what Joe could do and became a believer in him. But we followed his story as he basically battled the SEC after they did an ICO in November of 2017. So basically, if you did an ICO after July of 17 and you were in the US, the SEC came and issued you some sort of a letter, whether it was an actual formal, what's it called, subpoena, or if they just, basically sent you an interest letter saying, hey, we'd like to talk to you about whatever. And there's a lot of good actors that got swept up in that, and there's good companies that never launched. There's good companies that got crushed by it. And I think even now what the SEC's been doing is even worse. And I think that
Absolutely.
it's unfortunate because what it's done is it's put the U.S. in danger of really kind of being left behind and not being at the forefront of this digital technology, and digital asset revolution. Obviously, like I think, BlackRock and some of these guys stepping up, they see an opportunity to make money, but the good byproduct is like it's brought back some credibility and legitimacy to the space. But for me, it was like, again, like my passion is around empowering people. It's not just about, for me, like how much money do we make, which of course we all want to be successful, and I've got 3 kids, and we all want our families to thrive and to have good futures. But like, to me, the North Star that drives me is much different than most people. Like, I'm more interested in, like, Brock Pierce was actually the first person I heard say this quote, which is like, the definition of a new billionaire is not the person who makes $1 billion, it's the person that impacts 1 billion lives. And I think that like, to me, if we could all strive to use that, use that as our North Star of like, how many people's lives are we impacting in a positive way? And not that we all need to just sit there and do charity work all the time. It's not about that. I think it's about each of us tuning into what is our unique purpose and special gift, and bringing that to the world. I think that's the only way you can do that is if people are elevated out of this kind of struggle that most people are in, which is like, how am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to eat? How am I going to, fill in the blank? And I'm sure in
Just
our
live.
kind of, yeah, how am I going to live? And I'm sure in our social media driven culture, there's people chasing a bunch of shit they don't need. There's no question about that. But what I'm talking about is most of the planet is still like living in hell on earth and doesn't have the basic resources to survive, and is still being left out of the global economy. Now, I think that's rapidly shifting. I think with smartphones, ubiquitous internet becoming a thing through satellite internet, and now, the combination of crypto and AI, I think that we're going to transform that in the coming years. And so that's actually what kept me going. It was like, okay, like, I'm interested to be a part of that revolution in whatever way, even if it's in a small way. I want to do my part. And so, yeah, so we've just kept going, and kept forging ahead regardless of like the ups and the downs, and all the challenges. And also, being an American, I'm actually particularly passionate about the future of the state of things in this country. So
Oh yeah. As we should be. And I think that's why it's so important to be building in crypto. And I looked at all your websites, and I know that you have a lot of like really great people a part of your team that are from mainstream companies. So what was that like, kind of building out that team for Raiinmaker? Because what you guys are doing is kind of meshing your history of media with crypto and then AI on top of it. So how did you kind of build that team to be able to tackle such a big goal?
um it's kind of happened organically. Like I said, Joe was in a particular position where we saw eye to eye and wanted to build some very, unique technology in terms of scalable, modular, blockchain technology. So not EVM. Like, the protocol we built, COIIN, is not an EVM chain. Super scalable, super modular. Smart contracts are coded in other languages, not in Solidity or Rust, but it finalizes consensus on the Bitcoin network. So that means that, our focus is like, oh, Randi came on Raiinmaker. She logged in. She created art. She trained AI. Those actions are being signed on chain with your own keys from your own device. And you're not doing anything other than using like a Web2 like app. So you don't need to understand. You don't need any technical understanding at all. And then those signed actions are rolled up through these AI powered smart contracts on a permissioned layer that then is rolled up finally to validators who notarize it onto the Bitcoin network and other public networks to leverage the security and hash power of that network. So that's why in terms of our website, it's like powered by AI, secured by Bitcoin, because we use a Bitcoin network to secure all of the actions, all the data on our protocol. Um, so yeah, in terms of building the team, it's just like, we've been lucky to find good people at the right time and just be able to pull them in kind of organically as we've gone down the road. So
Yeah, I think that's probably the best thing in crypto is that a lot of things just happen because you cross roads with so many people from so many different backgrounds and you find all these synergies. And I think, that's the beautiful thing about crypto, the unity that it really brings to people and what they're doing, especially like Rainmaker. And I want you to tell us like what's your overall goal with Rainmaker and what exactly is Rainmaker if someone has never heard about it before?
so Rainmaker as a company is a Web3 and AI technology company focused on building scalable solutions for mass adoption use cases. So like sports, gaming, entertainment, creator economy. So we started with the Rainmaker app, which is running live on iOS and Android today, where users are actually being rewarded for training AI models. So they're going into the app, they're generating art, they're labeling data on the art they're generating, and then that data is being used to fine tune the stable diffusion models that the whole community is generating art with. And so in the future, we'll be building towards users, training all different types of AI models from the application. They're also running an independent node on the Coin Network protocol right from their mobile device on the Rainmaker app. So that means that without any technical knowledge, you can sign up, become a validator, and essentially you're earning tokens which also passively grow as they're just held and staked by from a smartphone. Anybody in the planet can do it. Super simple. And again, everything we engineer is with that philosophy and that mindset. So
I think that's pretty important. And especially when you have media like, growing at such a rapid pace where, of course, people want to look into AI to create media. So, how does it exactly work? And why should like we use this platform to generate our images and to be able to grow our AI kind of lifestyle?
well, I think it's cool to like figure out how do we begin to quantify the value that people are contributing to AI models, the value of the data we're contributing, which is already being used right now. Like your data, my data, everybody's data is being hoovered up by large centralized corporations and being fed to these models, which is fine. Again, like it's in the name of like advancement. It's in the I think in the big picture, I think it will be positive. But I think what we have to get to is like the future will be more specialized models that are being fed with more specialized data from very specific users. And what our protocol is very good at is actually saying, we know that Randy contributed this data at this moment, and we know who she is, and we know the value of her relative to her contributions to this model. So that's what we're essentially Rainmaker app is the tip of the spear in us, rolling that out. But we have other products we're rolling out, with bigger partners and stuff we're doing on the protocol side, big picture that's focused on how do we decentralize AI and how do we democratize the distribution of value around the training of these AI models.
That's really smart, and especially because you have your coin, that gold coin that you're giving out to people as a reward. And how does this, for people again just listening to this, you mentioned Bitcoin network, and now you're mentioning coin. So how does this all mesh together?
Yeah, so basically our coin network protocol, Rainmaker is the first major, first application running on it at scale, like 60,000 plus downloads to date. So
Wow, that's great.
basically so users that are on the app are already operating on the coin network protocol. They're already interacting with it. And also like essentially when you train AI and all that's being written on chain, the final proof is being hashed onto Bitcoin or another public chain. There's a few
Mm.
others we're integrated with as well. So that's how it's essentially there's an unbroken string of trust from Randy signed into Rainmaker. She created art. She trained, AI models with data, and then there's an unbroken string of trust from those actions signed with your keys on chain to a validator notarizing the final proof onto Bitcoin. So that way, it's like we know for a fact that there was no data that was changed between Randy did this action to the hash that goes on Bitcoin.
I like the immutability of it all. Just like it's just like confirmation after confirmation, especially in crypto. We don't trust, we verify. So I think that's a very significant to be explaining and showing to our users. Do you actually have a way to show us how the app works?
Yeah, so let me see if I can get it booted up now. If not, what I was thinking we might do, maybe we need to do an interview part two where we do the full demo of
That would actually be
not only
really
the act.
nice.
Yeah, let's do that because I do. as you know, my schedule is a little tight and crazy right now. But
All
let's do
good.
a part two. And what I'd like to do in the part two is I'll demo not only the Rainmaker app, but Coin Network Protocol and how people can sign up and do both, and also qualify for the airdrop that we have running as we speak. So
So, do you want to tell us anything about that airdrop? Give us some alpha.
yeah, so you could go right now if you go to the Rainmaker.com website. There's an airdrop page that basically walks you through the quest that you need to complete in order to qualify for the airdrop. So there's just basically like 6 or 7 different steps. And there's also a bonus for people who connect or claim a wallet. You're not connecting a wallet, you're just claiming a wallet that's your own, in your own custody. We're not touching the assets, but there's if you claim a wallet that has Bitcoin, ETH, Solana in it, it'll give you a bonus as on the airdrop. And then also there's going to be select NFT communities that we'll be partnering with for the airdrop as well. So that's the alpha. That's the lowdown.
And how do we picture all of these NFT projects integrating with your platform? Because we know you have an app, we know we're generating AI images there, but how can other NFT projects kind of jump in on the fun?
I mean, I think from a community side, we'll be looking to do fun stuff with them and collaborating. And like I said, on the airdrop, we'll have a couple key like big communities that you've heard of that we'll be partnering with to do airdrops with their holders and community. But yeah, I mean, I envision a future where, especially if there's anything around the training of AI models, I mean, that's kind of a core focus with Rainmaker on that
Yeah.
side. There's also the ability for those projects to potentially build on Coin at some point, depending on what they want to develop. So that's a different conversation.
I think that's really cool. I'm very interested in that because I like how, in crypto, everyone can really collaborate. And in my eyes, if one wins, we all win. So if you guys are creating a platform and giving people a way to create more content and add to what they already have going on, then everybody wins at that point. So I think that's something that more people should know about if they want to if they want to team with you guys. And if they want to, if an NFT project is looking at you guys and being like, hey man, I want to join in on this fund too, how can they reach out?
Yeah, so they can. I'm pretty easy to reach. They can come find me on X at Commodore Gonzo is my handle.
Got it.
Or yeah, or they can reach out to the team at marketing at rainmaker.com. That's the
Perfect.
easiest ways to connect. But yeah, definitely follow our socials to stay up to date on like the airdrop and the upcoming token launch. And then Randy and I are going to do a part two where we're going to demo everything. I'm going to demo the app, the data labeling. We're going to get into the validator side. We'll show people how to set up a validator on their computer. It's
That's
super easy to
amazing.
do. I'm all about like everybody should be able to participate in this decentralized AI and crypto revolution. And I think the most exciting thing is when we all like win together. So
Absolutely, winning together as a community. And you have a roadmap, and I saw that it's very lengthy, even going back from 2018 and going forward. What have you accomplished so far? What are your milestones, and what are your future milestones that you're looking to accomplish with Rainmaker?
yeah, I mean, I look like I said, I think the biggest thing upcoming is the launch of the network and the token. So I think that's a big thing. And then obviously on the decentralized AI side, we're going to continue to iterate and build and do things that are, we feel like nobody's really doing yet. So I think that's where I see us this heading right now. So
You guys are big movers. Even having an app on the App Store, it sounds so simple, but it's something that's really big for the community because it's been a big move for people to try to get apps that are actually usable on the App Store that are related to crypto. So I give you guys a lot of props for being able to do that. And carrying forward is your focus the mobile side or is your focus both mobile and web?
yeah, no, that we're definitely focused on both. I mean, I think we live in a mobile first world. So I think in order to understand that, we have to kind of design with that intention in mind. So yeah, I think to me, like everything we do is with like a mobile first posture, but I also think, you can't discount there's some stuff that is better suited in like that desktop, platform. So yeah, so look, I'm thrilled to speak with you today, Randy, and excited to come back to bring you guys the full real deal, demonstration of what we've got going on. So thank you for having me on today.
Of course. Is there any message you would like to share with the audience about media and really where you see this going because of your background, AI being now able to create media and everything moving forward because AI has been so fast paced, just like the crypto space and the development here. So, what are your thoughts on
Yeah.
that?
I mean, I think if I could leave one important parting thought, it would be that, AI will either empower or enslave humanity, and probably in some part both. And so my hope is that, we can build systems and technology that will empower humanity to reach our potential. And I think if we all have that intention in mind, that, that's what we'll see come to pass. And so I think just stay focused on finding your own inner compass, your own inner voice, your own path to like your own potential. I think that's the most important thing for each person to do.
Absolutely. I'm with that. Doing what you love, as I have in the background, is very important. Passion is everything in this space. And I feel your passion for what you're doing, especially because it's been your whole life. Can you tell us where we can find you? I like when people shout out handles audibly because then I can include it in the description. Everyone knows it's legit. And again, we don't trust, we verify in this space.
Yes, Rainmaker app is the handle. You can find us across all socials. So
And then rainmaker.com. And then on the App Store as well. They just have to type in Rainmaker with two eyes, right?
Rainmaker with two eyes. That's where we get it.
Beautiful. I love it. Everything is going to be in the description, guys. Thank you again, JD, for joining me. This was such an amazing conversation, learning more about Rainmaker, what you guys are doing, and I can't wait for the next time. So, guys, if you enjoyed this episode, you love the alpha and the airdrops, we love the airdrops. Make sure you guys smash the likes, subscribe to the channel, share the stream out with friends. I'll catch you next time. Stay zesty. Peace.